I'll be with you. Just connecting now, right. Brilliant, let's get going. Right, lots to get through. We're going to keep it nice and short. Let's start with the NASDAQ. What the NASDAQ does, the rest of the market follows. Anybody on YouTube watching can post questions and I'll look out for those. If you want to talk to me at any stage, I'll unmute you. Right, so here we are with the NASDAQ coming into that trend line resistance up there. So we've had this really nice sweep to the upside here, back into this main drop zone. So we closed above this area last week. So any pullback into last week's support should potentially see us go to 14.5. So there is no volume is healthy. We're close to the high of the RSI, but there's plenty of scope for this to keep going at the moment. So don't sell in May and go away. Yep, sure. That is a good way to think of it and be cautious as we stay up here. If we close under 13,300 this week, then hold on to your hats because it's going to drop, because that will involve coming out of that pattern, coming on the underside of that funnel pattern, and see us potentially go back to 23 lows and more. So if I pan back from that, you can see how the January 22 drop completed in the October support, and there we are, still pinging higher at this stage. Let's cut across to the FTSE. FTSE is trapped between this pink zone is the January 20 high. We have pushed up nicely into February this year, dropped right back into support, and now we're in no man's land. A marginal higher close last week, so this is on probation. My guess is we'll come and see 79.50, maybe higher, at which point I would definitely short. I would short at a much quicker level if we start closing underneath 7,700. In the meantime, there is no reason to short at the moment. We're in this little apex here. So I drag this trend line resistance over the top. You will, and then pan back from it. You can see, yeah, if this is a lower high that we put in middle of April, and we subsequently close underneath 7,700, then yeah, hold on to your hats. Quite weak, relatively quite weak on the data front. We've got US GDP Thursday. We have services data tomorrow, and Fed minutes end of Wednesday. I don't think we're going to expect anything different on the Fed minutes. So I think all eyes are going to be on US GDP on Thursday. Could bad news be good news? Yeah, possibly. The market is basically pricing in a completion of the rate cycle. This is just back to the, so this is the spiders, the S&Ps. You can see what a crucial level we are on at those S&Ps. Flicking across, let's look at dollar. Is sitting up. I know there are some of you who view this who look at Forex. I've got an interesting Forex chart for you. So we did a very nice spike September 22. So the correlation between the strength of the dollar and the markets is a good healthy relationship is inverse, and that's exactly what happened in last autumn. So if this gets energized and this dollar starts picking up, that could drag the indices down, so be careful. That's obviously why the gold's struggling. Let's look at the gold right now. So gold has hit this 2070 area 3 times, and we have come off again. And every time we've hit it so far, we have come down. If we attack that level again, I think it's going to be through and through. Every time you hit a resistance area, it weakens. I think this could be through and through. 3 touches of seen drops. The next touch, I think, will break through. So the pullback is probably potentially as low as 1925, 1950 area. If we see that and hold, I mean, I have been buying dips, but looking at this chart now, it looks to me as if it needs a further pullback to reconnect with that 20-day average. Bullish consolidations are over once you reconnect to those kinds of levels. So I think maybe on Wednesday, possibly Thursday, we might see a drop into that support, and I think that would be viable. If you then reflect on the euro, euro is sitting on the 20-day average right now. So I think this euro could be about to get lower, about to come off the boil. However, the fact we're sitting there on the 20-day average could mean if we pick up here this week, that could go back up to 113, which was the drop zone from February 22. Right, the Forex chart I really like at the moment is this one. Let me just grab it. Aussie New Zealand. I think this Aussie New Zealand is a really, really nice chart. And the reason why I like it is because I think this is a 3-wave correction. And yeah, we did another little wave to the upside. So we had a lower high here. But this is where we broke up from there. So we're sitting in this breakup area on this key support. So if we start closing above 106, 107, 107, 108, I think this is going to punch higher. It's news. Am I right? I think it's New Zealand rates this week. Let me look. I'm sure I've seen New Zealand rates on the chart. Let me just double check. Yeah, it's New Zealand rates 3 a.m. UK time on Wednesday morning, and we are expecting another 1/4 point rise on that. Let's get rid of that. So I like that chart. I think this dip is viable with a stop underneath, a very close stop, and then see if we break above that 108, 109. I think we're going back to 115. Okay, moving on. Let's move on faster. Let's have a look at some other commodities and then stocks. Right, wheat. Strong dollar is dragging the wheat right down at the moment. Let's have a look at the trend line levels. Right, we are on trend line support. I think this six bucks is huge. If up till now I've been wrong about the wheat. We had a higher close here on early May, first week in May, only to see it drop right back. So I am still buying this area here in the wheat because this is my favorite chart of the year, because if take tell you what, let's get another fib zone on here. Yeah, if we get above 6.30, 6.50 cents, $6.50, I think this is going to break up. See, the RSI is right on the low line. This is a breakup area from July 21. I think the beauty of this trade is if you're wrong, you can get a very close stop underneath that 590. If I'm right, this is going to break up very well over the coming months. There's the funnel pattern. To close above 630, 650, it's got to be 650, isn't it? Close above 650, ultimately, I can see that going to $15 plus long term. If I'm wrong, that's going to close under 590 and continue lower down to $4. My money's on the upside. I like that pattern a lot. Commodities have a habit of breaking key support, finding big round numbers, i.e. $6, and then running up. Right. Let's have a quick look at copper while I'm here. Copper is a very interesting market from the point of view that electric cars, etc., are in much need of it. So we had a sort of doji bar there. I think that's a holding pattern. I think we potentially got a holding pattern on this copper, because if that holds, so there's a trend line coming across from the 22 lows. If we start closing above this 82.50, then I think the copper can go as well. Right, let's look at oil. I think oil is heading back to 82 and potentially back to $100. So I think these dips are buyable. So this week, if we see 70 again, anything close to 70, then I think we can, I'll be a buyer if we can get down there. At the moment, it looks as if that, we were close to 70 this morning in London. I had two big breakouts last week in London. So I think you're going to be lucky to see a pullback to 71, 72 tomorrow, if I'm right about the oil. Let's look now at, yeah, the gold's picked right up. Right, okay, moving across to stocks. I'm going to start with I'm going to start with retailers, because if retailers can hold, then that bodes well for other sectors. You can see on this is all weekly charts, by the way. See, I'm not sure I pointed that out. Hopefully you have realised that by now. But yeah, so Sainsbury's has been on a really nice run from 166 up there to 290. That's a sell signal last week. In fact, yeah, we had a new high in the range and an immediate close lower. So, however, we're sitting right on that trend line support. So if I'm wrong, we're going to close under 250 and ultimately 270, 250 pretty quick. And we'll start to make our way back down. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll close under 270. I think we're going to see 250 pretty quick, and I think we can find ourselves winging it way down to £2 at the moment. It's a good stock. The volumes are beginning to fall off and concern me. But I think that the last time we had a signal like that was over here. This is a very similar signal in January 22. And that's when we dropped right back to that October lows. And we're actually, if I go across to that drop zone, focusing now on the drop zone in January 22, we are potentially behaving like that right now. So I think this is the warning sign. Selling may and go away. Well, the retailers may be just about doing that already. Tesco, sell signal on the weekly chart. Shoe zone, that's already put a sell zone. That's already put a sell signal in. I would love to short. I've got hang on a second. Let me get rid of this alert. I would love to short 250 on that, because I think that shoe zone is lower. Right, anybody want to look at any retailers before I move off of retailers? Have a look at EasyJet. That looks like a very bullish consolidation, I have to say. And I would have thought the consolidation would be over if you come and see 460, so on. Right. But I don't like this sector, so I'm not buying. Right. Look at Boo. That is really struggling. Let's have a look at ASOS, as seen on screen. Yuck. Wow. That is really a nasty chart. Unless that turns around, starts closing above 450 quickly, that's doomed. Right, let's have a look at the basic materials. It's my favorite sector at the moment. FXPO. Keep a close eye on this. This is potentially a very nice chart. Let me line this up. So up there in 21, we were 465, 460, sorry. Wow, that's had a huge tumble. Huge tumble. For those who just joined us, we've done Forex, indices, and commodities. We're just doing UK stocks. And because I'm a big fan of commodity stocks, we're just looking at commodities. We're just looking at commodity stocks. I think this is really interesting. I think these guys are copper, aren't they? I think. I'm going to keep a very close eye on this, because if we get bought here, I can see that getting to £182 pretty quick on FXPO. Right, moving across Man Group. I think this, look at the volume coming in. Weekly charts, just a reminder. I like this stock a lot. As long as we don't close underneath these lows, I can see that going back to £3. Volume suggests that I'm right. TPI cap looks lower, so that's really struggling up there. Rio. I am liking Rio. That's a good week last week. I think this is a key area. I think if Rio can close above that high from 2 weeks, if Rio can close above 51.52, I think that's potentially going to wind up to 67. Anything you want me to look at? Let's what else? Let's look at miners, and then I'll open up the floor. Pan-African, what has happened to Pan-African? That is a terrible stock. From the point of view, it's in a really narrow range. Well, if we stay down here and close under 15, then that's coming all the way back down to those lows. Let's look at some other ones. Griffin. Hang on a second, I'm just going to move my cat. Hang on. Come on. Right. Don't like it. Very poor volume. TGAT and his TGAT. Ooh. That's a very, again, that's an important area. I have to say, with we're coming down on volume levels that suggest this has not found a base yet. That looks lower at this stage. And cross chart. I'm amazed these miners are struggling down here at the moment. That I think of all the miners charts, that's a better one. So we wound up in March, dropped in April, and now we're in the middle of that apex. So if at any stage soon we close above 85, I can see that going to 140. Right, let's look at a couple of US silver miner. It's struggling, but if we pick up a bid here at this $3, $3.25, I can see that winding up. Big fan of silver, big fan of gold. I think oil is higher, and I'm a huge fan of wheat. Right. We'll look at the FCX, the US copper miner. Potential bull flag. Saw decent volume last week. I think that's heading back to recent highs on the back of that higher weekly close with slightly higher volume. Right. Anything? What do you want me to look at? Anything? Let's talk about Tullow. I'm going to keep a little bit more scanning. Yeah, decent pin bar on the weekly on Tullow. So I think this 25 is going to hold. You've got to get out if that goes under 21, but I think that Tullow is good. BFC building. There's another good one, GKP. Ooh. That is really struggling there at the moment. As with so many of these stocks, that's at a critical level as well. Critical support level. So this broke down here. But if we can, so it looks as if it wants to see 120. We're currently 130 on GKP. But if we come down and find 120 and hold on volume, I think that's a goer. Hang on 1 second. I'll answer that in a second. Hi, you've asked about the blue red line. I think you're looking at this is volume, and this is a 50-day average with that's zoned under the 50-day average in the volume. So on this one, I've actually got it on the 50-day average, not the 20. Not a lot of difference. Yeah, the 20-day average is up there. Or maybe you're referring to that one up there. That's the 20-day average. Oh yeah, you said on the candle chart. Sorry, yeah, you're not talking about that. You're talking about this 20-day average, right? Got it. Let me just clear these drawings. Okay, so GKP, yeah, interesting one. Looks to me if that hits 120 and holds, I'm in on GK20. Right. Any questions? You're from Belgium. Welcome from Belgium. I haven't managed to get myself to Belgium recently, but lovely part of the world. Good. And I hope well. Your certainly your English, your written English is very good. Are you English? Are you a Brit living in Belgium, or are you a native Belgian? Right. Very welcome to you all. Anyway, I'm going to leave this there. What else I can look at? Have a quick look at financials, and then I'll close up. Barclays. So you see this moving to 132 down there in Bell. Oh, it actually dropped into the 127 mark, and that looks higher. I just thought of a couple of others. You're Portuguese, okay. Right, let me just think. What else do I need to show you? Lloyd's. Very good couple of weeks. Well, it's had a good couple of months. I think this looks good at the moment. If we can break above that pattern, then we could go and see 50 plus. If we close underneath 43 and of course 40, then we're in trouble. I just thought something else I was going to look at and I've forgotten. I'm just pausing while I gather my thoughts here. Ooh, that's horrible. Right, so let's just sum up then. Am I bullish? Am I bearish? At the moment, all the time the NASDAQ sits up here. In fact, the NASDAQ has closed, yeah, it's closed right above this drop zone. So as long as we don't close, when I say drop zone, I'm talking about this period here, August 22. I think short term these markets are holding up, but as we've seen with so many of these charts, they are at a critical level. And if this NASDAQ in particular starts to close lower here, then hold on to your hats. But in the meantime, like in the commodities, like in the commodity related stocks, keeping a very close eye on that dollar as we head towards Fed minutes and US GDP in the second half of the middle and second half of the week. On the Forex side, I'm really liking the Aussie New Zealand dollar. Just need to wait until we get the New Zealand rates out of the way. And I will, if you're not in the Telegram room, then I will just give you the link to that. Bear with me one moment. Got it. Copy link. Head and shoulder reverse pattern here on the NASDAQ. Right. Yes, it could be. I think the path of least resistance at the moment is up, but we are in the path of least resistance is up because we keep closing higher on the weekly chart. We're above the 20-day average. The volume is higher, so it ticks boxes for the upside at this stage. The most vulnerable price area to me looks like this area up here. It looks to me as if we can go and connect with the April 22 drop zone. But I will start shorting if we lose our footing here. Let's go back to the daily. So I've been spent the whole session on the weeklies. Yeah, so 14,276, 14,3 is, we are very high RSI on at this stage. So if we get any major drop close underneath the 13,600 level, then I would short pullbacks into that level. Quick look at the FTSE daily before I go. So there's the FTSE daily looks as if it's winding back to the early May drop. And that's the kind of, that trend line that's hanging over the top on the FTSE is the kind of area that I would look to short, ideally like to short up there. And you can see 79.60 way up at this high up here will be a lovely place to short if we get up there. So short to medium term, I still see more upside. Keeping a very, very close eye on the dollar, particularly as I'm invested in commodities. Right, let's put the weekly back. A weekly on the FTSE, right? Okay. And there's the weekly on the FTSE, stuck in that range, stuck in that no man's land. Brilliant. And I'm going to leave it there. I will do further updates, particularly after we get the Fed out of the way and services data out of the way. And I will talk about, now I've got a little bit more time on my hands, I will talk about how I'm going to be giving out more information and support in the coming weeks and summer. All right, thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a good evening, and look forward to talking to you either in the Telegram room or here next week. Thanks very much. I am doing a day trading session tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time. If you are interested, I will give you a link for that now before you go. Let me just find it very quickly. Right, that's a link for the day trading session tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time. Brilliant. Have fun. Thanks for joining me again, and see you soon. Bye.